Hello. Um, Today we learn about comparing fractions and how to compare two or more given number of fractions. And the first thing we got to remember is if two fractions have the same denominators, the fraction with the higher numerator is larger. Um, For example, if you comparing 2/5 and 3/5, uh, 3/5 is larger than 2/5 because both have the same denominators, which is 5, but this one has got a higher numerator, which is 3. And you can see it like on a piece of pizza. If you divide a pizza into 5 parts, here you're taking only 2 parts, and here you're taking 3 parts. Obviously, you got more here. So it's so simple when you have the same denominators. But what if we don't have the same denominators? If we don't have the same denominators, we need to use equivalent fractions to get them to have the same denominators. Basically what we call it common denominator. So you getting both of them to have the same denominators, and we call it common denominator. The common denominator, you can have different denominators as common denominator, but the best case is when you have the lowest common multiple of the two denominators. So take the lowest common multiple of the two denominators as your common denominator to make equivalent fractions. Let's look at an example. 2/5 and 1/3. We want to compare them to see which one is larger. Your step 1 is to find the lowest common multiple of the denominator. So here we have different denominators, so we cannot compare as easy as that one. So we got to find a common denominator, which is going to be the lowest common multiple of the two denominators. So the first denominator is 5. Write all its multiples. So start from 5 and go up by 5. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and so on. Then for 3, start from 3 and go up by 3. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and 18, and so on. Now look for the smallest number which appears in both of these. As you can see, the smallest number which appears in both of this set of numbers is 15. So 15 is our lowest common multiple, which we can use it as our common denominator. Alright, so what does this mean? Now I can write both fractions out of 15, because 15 is the common denominator. So 2/5 out of 15. What should go here in the numerator? Because I know my denominator, but what should it go here in the numerator? So these two fractions are equivalent fractions. So 5 to get to 15, you realize that you need to times by 3. And if you times in the denominator by 3, you got to times the numerator also by 3. So 2 times 3 is 6. So 6 goes here. Similarly, for the next one, you have 1/3. Again, we're using 15 as the denominator because it's the common denominator. So you need to times it by 5. 3 times 5 is 15. Then 1 also needs to be times by 5 to get the new numerator. That becomes 5 out of 15. So 5 out of 15 is the same as 1 out of 3. 6 out of 15 is the same as 2 out of 5. Alright, which one of them is larger now? Compare these two new fractions that we have. 6 fifteenths and 5 fifteenths. Obviously, this is larger because we have a higher numerator here. The same denominators, but a higher numerator here. So this is larger. But remember, our purpose was to compare these two. So that if this is larger, it means that 2/5 is larger. So 2/5 is greater than 1/3. Thank you for your attention.